Hello guys and welcome back to the Laird Performance YouTube channel. Today we've got a couple of things going on. We've got this that we're going to finish the hybrid turbo mapping on, and we're going to pull out the Mark 4 track car and get kind of torn into getting the wiring and whatever else moved so that we can actually paint the inside of it. So there's a fair bit going on. We've got a car next door that's having all rebuild work done. Please excuse the mess in the dyno cell. I've still got all this interior out the Mark 4 which needs to go. It's on eBay, you can find it on there and you can make us an offer and we'll make sure it's shipped out to you. It's in great condition. So, let's move on. So for those of you who don't know what this car's already had done and are maybe joining us for the first few videos, this car has a S285 hybrid turbo from Turbocharged on it. It's got a full ST performance intake. It's got the large ST intake here, but we've actually managed to cram a heat shield in it. Believe it or not, that actually made a good bit of difference, the heat shield. We have a large outlaw intercooler as well as a full Scorpion turbo back exhaust with sports cap and resonated GPF centre section. So it's got quite a lot of modifications. I actually still need to add on the little turbo over here right enough, but you know, this car's got full track set up now more or less, and now it's time to actually dial in the hybrid turbo and see how much power it can make. Another thing to bear in mind as well is once we are done with this car, it is going to be for sale, so people can buy it and we should be able to sort out finance as well on these cars. So the cage is finally finished. Now it's time to show the grand reveal, but the car is absolutely full of garbage at the moment because we've had to move it about from the dyno room into the car, from the car into the dyno room, everywhere. So let's get the car out and see how it looks now. Now you can understand the problem I've got. There might be a cage in it, but there's also a lot of garbage inside it that we need to then replace. But we'll get all this crap out and then show you the cage. We've got the seat bases all welded in. Cage is a complete weld-in cage. We were going to go for a dash dodger, but decided it's better to just go for it. So really nice work for the guys at JP Cages. Absolutely mint. It's tight to the roof. It's gonna look great once it's all painted inside, but you can see it looks a bit scraggly, so we need to try and do something with the wiring, and that's what Kenny's doing now. He's just powering through trying to get as much it out as possible, and then we can get painting. So we'll do a couple of runs with the base map, see how it performs, and then we'll try and improve on that and get as much time on it as we possibly can and see where it kind of takes us. I know roughly what this turbo should make. It should make anywhere from like 290 to 300 brake. It probably won't see massively over 300. If we can do that, then great. But let's just see where it takes us. Today is quite cool in the dyno room for a change. It's about 16 degrees, which is not bad considering. So we'll get it ran up and see what it does. So I've reviewed the logs. I've seen a couple of places that I think I can make some positive changes in. So I've made a couple of adaptations. Some areas I'm expecting to maybe come down a little bit, but we will build that back up again. So from where we're starting now, it's looking pretty good, but I would still like to see just a little bit more. But this is the joys of custom tuning. Sometimes you'll take a couple of steps back and then you might take a good few steps forward. So we'll flash these changes on now, run it again, see what power it makes, and then make some more changes if we have to. So that run there done roughly what I was expecting it to do. Some areas have went up, some areas have went down, so I just need to clean it all off now. So now we're making 300 horsepower with the car with 430 newton meters. So we've gained a considerable amount in the mid-range, but we have dropped off at the bottom end a little, which is kind of what I was expecting to do anyway, because I was lowering the wastegate duty in the bottom end to try and open up the throttle and get it to pretty much sing a bit more. But now what we're going to have to do is actually add a little bit back in so that we can try and deliver it nice. What we're looking for is a nice flat torque curve, or as flat as we can possibly make it. So we'll go over and we'll have a look at the graph now and explain a little bit what's going on. So if you look at this graph, you'll be able to see roughly what's been going on. So the top line that you see was where we kind of started with. So I've lowered the boost at that point, which has dropped the power a little bit. What I have done is made a couple of changes from 4,000 RPM onwards, which the car has ended up happier with. And we've picked up 10 horsepower straight away just by doing that. So we've not actually added any more boost at this point. We've just picked up horsepower through making the car a bit happier. That's the thing, everyone seems to think that you just add more boost and you just add more time, and it's not quite like that. There is other areas that you can make power in, but all I need to do now is smooth that off so that it's nice and flat, and then hopefully that will be us sorted for this one. I can make a bit more torque but you're then kind of getting into the danger zone. I'd like to try and tidy up this little bit as well, but so far so good. I'm happy enough with that. If we look at the way this kind of pulls into the power, you can see it's quite progressive. It comes up to like 380 newton meters and then just steadily rises up to 430 newton meters, so that'll pull really strong into the top end. We're making 270 at the wheels, which is really good. Really happy with that. We can definitely make a bit more if we really want to push it harder, but it's whether there's any point. We want to try and get and keep 300 brake horsepower. That I'm happy with in this car, but I just want to try and tidy up this torque curve so it's a little bit punchier at the bottom end. But right now that's pretty good. We've got no problems with fuel pressure dip and everything's handling it spot on. So right now I'm just flashing the revised version onto the car as we speak, and then we're going to run it again and see exactly how much it makes. Hopefully, with any luck, it'll just smooth that bit off at the bottom end and maintain the top end horsepower, but I have made small changes at the top end to see if it makes any sort of difference, so we'll see how that pans out. So how are you getting on in there?
It's tedious.
Having fun?
It's good fun, sure.
Good fun,
It's going to take a wee while longer than I thought.
And so now we're back inside this. This is the problem we have in multiple projects. It's A, a lot of money, and B, you don't know where to start on either one of them. But to be fair, this project's almost complete as far as, you know, tuning's concerned. Another thing, how mad does this GFB sound? Woo! That is awesome. So right now we're making 272 at the wheels, which is quite strong. We're roughly where we want to be with it. It's just, there's still a couple of little things that I want to try and get just right. So there's a couple of things I can still change. I've still to add a bit more ignition advance. If I can get another couple of degrees in there, we should see it consistently over 300 brake. But right now that is pretty solid. 272 at the wheels is not to be sniffed at. So I could go chasing 2 horsepower or 1 horsepower, but it's not really worth it. The car's a 300 horsepower car, it's ran 300 horsepower today, but we're going to call it today at 299 horsepower and 429 newton meters, actually 430 if you round up to 0.56. So that's a pretty good result for this turbo, that's solid. There's probably other things I can do to make a little bit more power, but I just need a little bit more time on it. Now it may not look like much, but Kenny's definitely made a lot of progress in getting this all kind of rubbed down. I'm still in two minds of what I want to do as far as, you know, styling's concerned. Do I want to put a big wide body kit on it? Do I want to keep it kind of simple? I'm not entirely sure. Leave your comments below on what you think I should do with it, but I would like to put a big massive wide arch kit and stuff like that on it. That would be nice. It's just trying to find one is the main problem. The general plan with this car is to go up to where our old development car was. So we've got rid of that one now, and this is our sole development car. I've ran over 420 horsepower in the old car. This will want to do the same, as well as run it flat out round track. If we get more power than that, then great, but we'll just need to see how it all works out. So now we're on day 2, and we're on to the last project that's ongoing right now, and that's the water meth system that's in the MK8 Fiesta ST. Well, the other MK8 Fiesta ST. We've installed the AEM water methanol kit. We have put a 250cc nozzle in here, which goes directly into the ST Performance elbow. That boss is already welded onto these kits, which is quite good. So that's a really nice addition to that kit, which means you've got less work to do and you can just install it. Inside we've got a small tank that's been put in the rear, as well as the controller system is up front for me to actually control it and tune it in. It's a bit messy in here now because I've been messing about with it, but you can see the kit there. First things first, we need to get this car strapped down, get the dyno all set up, and then what we'll do is we'll do a run with it as it is presented, with the map that's already on it. Then we'll switch on the methanol and try and dial that in as best we can for the map that's on it, and hopefully see results that we want to be seeing. If not, then, you know, we'll need to go back to the drawing board a bit. But if we do start seeing results that we want to see, then we'll start trying to utilise the meth a wee bit more, seeing if we can extract some more power out of this. But get it strapped down, do a run, see how it goes. And like I said, this is the kind of first time I've done this with the MK8 Fiesta ST, so it's going to be a bit of an interesting one and a bit of a learning curve. I'm hoping that we're going to see good results. I would like to see in the 320 mark. If we can see that, I'll be over the moon. Whether that'll actually happen or not because of the way this dyno calculates, I'm not entirely sure, because we see enough wheel horsepower to see 320 plus, but the way it makes the wheel horsepower with the way this dyno runs, it doesn't quite equate to 320 horsepower. It works out about 300 horsepower. Let's see what it makes straight off the bat. So the first thing I can see from the logs is the car's been sitting idling for far too long and it's too warm already. That is the main thing that these cars struggle with, is temperatures. It's really bad for it, and hopefully the methanol kit is going to help us reduce a lot of that, and that is the main thing that we're setting out to do today. So in the first runs, it made 300 horsepower and 418 newton meters, which is not bad, roughly where it was before, but we had a little bit of ignition pull, so that could be the fuel that we've chosen to use this time around. So what I'm hoping to see is, if I switch the meth on now, I'm hoping to see that ignition pull get taken away, hopefully some ignition adding, and also a cooling effect as well from the methanol. The methanol is now armed. We've got the switch on, we've got it programmed to start, you know, at about 8 psi and then be on full amount by 27 psi. So we'll see how that runs first and then try again. So that first run was much better. Straight away we had next to no ignition pull at all, and it just kept advancing, so that's really good, and we have seen a power increase also. So let's have a look and see how much we've made just by switching on the meth with those settings. We have made 308 horsepower, 412 newton meters, so that's a good start. I'm happy with that. Let's get cracking now with the tuning. From where we're at right now, I'm really happy with the first initial results we've seen. It's cooled everything down, it's mitigated any sort of ignition pull, so now let's see how far we can go with it. Slowly but surely making progress across the full rev range now. I'm utilising the meth, I'm making the best of all the extra octane we've got. You know, I'm using it for more than just the cooling purposes now. We're trying to get more power out of it, which is good from a couple of points of view, but it means it's constantly got to be running it while on power. But this car is mainly a track focused car, so it makes sense just to utilise it. Why not? Right now we are seeing higher wheel horsepower up the top end than we've seen before, so we're making around 270 at the wheels at 6,000 RPM, which is pretty spot on. I'd like to see just a touch more than that if we can, but we'll just need to see where this takes us now. So we've now got to a point where we're adding ignition and making no more power. We're still not seeing any like pullback or anything like that, and the car seems to be running just nice. So I think we're going to call it there. We could start adding more boost again, but then we're starting to get to the point where how much is too much? You need to kind of weigh up the good with the bad. This is a track car after all. We've switched on the meth and gained around 10 horsepower across from 5,000 RPM pretty much to the red line, so that for us is a good result. Every little helps. Is keeping the car cooler is the main thing, but just having that little bit up the top end is going to be nice as well. But in the hotter days, this is going to really, you know, show its worth. We'll need to get the car out and track now and see how it goes, but the results are in, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. You know, can't really complain too much. So at least that's another kind of project out of my hair. We're making over 270 at the wheels, we're making 276 at the wheels, which is solid. I don't know how many other people have made as much power as that, but hey, for a small hybrid turbo, that is pretty good. So we should compare it against the other car and see what the power differences are like, what the power band differences are like, and just see overall what we estimate to be the faster car. So the two turbos are slightly different. The one that we're calling the YouTube car, it's slightly more responsive. It's making a little bit more in the mid-range as well, but we're talking negligible amounts really. Well, actually no, it might not be, that might actually be a decent amount. Yeah, about 10 horsepower more, the mid-range. Now that can be the amount of boost that we're using or just the way that we've set it up, but that's not bad. Where it starts to fall off is up the top end here. So where this one's holding on to the power, up the top end, you can see it's just a bigger turbo, it's flowing a bit more, but the other car is more responsive. So I think when you put these two in a track battle, it's going to be a really interesting shootout between the two. Both are making, you know, around 300 horsepower, albeit this one's making around the 310, is well, closer to the 310 mark, and the other one is closer to just the 300 mark. So we're talking about 10 horsepower difference, which you can say is negligible, but we'll find out on track what it's like. So we'll need to try both out now with their upgraded power and see how they go. Thanks very much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a comment down below, like and subscribe to the channel, and we can keep updating you on how we're getting on with all these projects. This one is more or less finished now, and so is the other MK8 Fiesta ST. Both of those cars are going to be wicked round track, but in the next video we have set ourselves quite a bit of a challenge where we're going to try and turn the Focus round in 14 days and get it ready for a track day. Well, at least mildly ready for a track day. So join us in the next one where we see what we get up to.